Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm so excited to be here with you. Today, I want to talk to you about how your self talk is either healing you or hurting you. There's no in between. Self compassion is literally medicine. And why did I do a podcast episode about this? I did 2 newsletters, a post, a short video, and now I'm going live because I think it's urgent. And I think it's urgent because I've been doing a lot of research this week. For you research nerds, reach out to me and I will happily send you my compilation of research articles. It's very comprehensive. It's showing that self compassion heals you. Why? So, I'm going to talk about why and how you can make self compassion a reality. And if any part of you is like, I understand because I was hesitant and actually not into this topic because I'd rather focus on being compassionate with others than compassionate with myself. If you feel that way, let me know in the comments. Like, me too. This is normal. Most people find it easier to be compassionate to others than being compassionate to yourself. And just because it's normal doesn't mean we can't change. I'm going to talk about why you might want to change today. I want to define what self compassion means first. So, compassion is a human experience. It recognizes the suffering in someone else. And in this case, it's you recognizing that you're suffering and also having a desire to help. So, when you are self compassionate, you are able to recognize that you are suffering and you have a desire to fix it, to make it better. Those two things are what makes up self compassion. Now, why do I think it's so urgent? Like, why am I talking about this so much? Because what the science shows us is that if you practice self compassion, so recognizing that you're suffering and having a desire to fix it, if you're doing that regularly, you are more likely to engage in positive health behaviors. So, by positive health behaviors, I mean you're more likely to eat healthy, you're more likely to exercise, you're more likely to go to bed on time, you're more likely to manage your stress. And this is really important because those behaviors literally prevent over 80% of disease. And not only do they prevent them, but they reverse them. So I am making a shout out. Hello, 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 hello. It is urgent that we prioritize self compassion. Now, again, I recognize this might be hard. I know for me, this topic makes me a little uncomfortable because I'm not comfortable taking care of myself. I am much more comfortable taking care of you and everyone else I encounter. And if that's you, you're not alone. This is actually very common. I gave a talk last week. I had 100 people in the audience, and I asked them, who feels more comfortable taking care of someone else versus yourself? And everyone's like, me, and me too. I raised both my hands and my leg. So let's talk about how we can make this a reality, especially if this makes you feel uncomfortable. And if it doesn't, yay for you. And let us know in the comments, what do you do to take care of yourself? Because we want to learn from you. So please, if you're finding any benefit, share this with your network, share it with anyone who benefits. Self-compassion It benefits your mental health by lowering stress, lowering anxiety. It lowers your heart rate. It helps you build stronger relationships. It lowers your blood pressure, reduces inflammation, boosts your immune system, supports your heart health. It does so much good. And yes, compassion for others and yourself has all of those benefits. But self compassion has a very unique benefit. Self compassion, again, people who practice self compassion, so people who are nice to themselves, people who have a nice inner dialogue, who recognize that they are suffering and they want to fix it. Those people are more likely to participate in positive behaviors, which is really significant because it takes a lot of motivation and energy to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So if you can do something that's free and simple, not always easy to do because you have to create the habit, but it's simple, why wouldn't we do it? If you know that practicing self compassion, noticing when you are suffering and doing something about it to make it better, if you know that that's going to help you prevent disease, it's going to motivate you to do the things that prevent disease, why wouldn't you do it? All right, so here's how we do it. And what I'm showing on the screen, not on TikTok, unfortunately, but those of you who are on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you're able to see this little worksheet, which you can get for free. I made it for you because I want you to succeed at this. You can get it at carlacaldwell.com for free. It's yours. carlacaldwell.com. It's free. It's yours. Sorry about that. So, one of the easiest ways to start to practice self compassion is by noticing what's going on. So, do you have an idea of how nice you are to yourself, basically? Have you ever paid attention? If you haven't, today's the day. Today and tomorrow, I encourage you, start to pay attention. Pay attention to the words you use for yourself when you make a mistake or when something stressful is happening. Pay attention. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Is it nice or is it mean? Is it language that you would never use for a child or someone you care about? If it is, that's a problem. So you're going to start paying attention to the language, the dialogue you have with yourself, and two, when you are making decisions, do you ever take yourself into account, your well-being? Like if you're deciding if you're going to say yes to a commitment, do you ever ask yourself, am I up for this? Is it going to take too much energy from me? Is it going to hurt me to say yes to this, to helping someone else? So those are the two factors. You're looking at how you talk to yourself and do you take yourself into account when making decisions? Now, how do you change a habit? If you are used to being mean to yourself, like that dialogue is not nice, then you need to create a new habit. So when I did this, I started paying attention and I noticed that when I made mistakes or I was in stressful situations, my language to myself was not nice. I was like, Carla, how could you screw this up? Carla this, Carla that. That's an issue. So I had made it a habit to be mean. I now needed to make it a habit to be nice, and I'm still working on this. So if you look at your dialogue and you're speaking to yourself in a way that you wouldn't speak to a friend or a loved one, then the first step is to notice and create a new habit. So the way this looks is when I notice that I'm not being nice to myself, I'm like, no, Carla, we don't do this anymore. And I change the thought. So for example, Like today, I made a mistake. I sent an email out and I didn't word it correctly, and there was like some typos. And I started saying, Carla, you know better. I'm like, no, we don't do this anymore. We don't do this anymore. And I changed it. Okay, Carla, we made a few typing errors. It's beneficial if we use, you know, Grammarly or check it through a spell check. And I'm going to do better next time. Totally different than berating myself, right? So, what I want you to do is pay attention to your thoughts. When you notice they're less than ideal, not the way you would talk to someone you love or care about, then you're going to take it back, remind yourself this is not what you do anymore, and you're going to change the thoughts so they're positive and more of like a curious problem solving. It's okay that you want to be and do better, but you don't have to do it with this harsh language. Okay? The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is when you are making decisions, let's say you notice that you don't even think about yourself. You're thinking about the other person. Maybe you're thinking about your family or the people you work with, your clients, your staff, but you don't even think about yourself. So now moving forward, you're going to be on the lookout when you have to make a decision, and you're going to ask yourself, how will this affect me long term? Is this in my best interest? What guidelines can I give this other person so that it's a win-win for both of us? Take yourself into account. You matter. Okay? The other thing I really want to ask you to do is start to notice when you're suffering. Whether it's emotionally, if you feel sad, if you feel angry, if you feel let down. And instead of like shoving it down, like this doesn't matter, you're now going to recognize that you're important. You matter. And you're going to take an interest when you're suffering, the way you would if your child was suffering, if your partner is suffering, if your friend is suffering. You're going to notice and you're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry you feel sad. I'm sorry you feel angry. What can I do? You're going to start to take care of yourself. And a good question to ask is, how would I treat a friend in this similar situation? Become your own friend. And when you forget why you're doing this, remember that people who practice self-compassion are more likely to have the motivation to participate in positive health behaviors. These are the behaviors that prevent 80% of disease and help reverse them. So again, those positive behaviors are, if you're being self-compassionate, you're more likely to exercise. You're more likely to move, to eat better. You're more likely to do all of these things that will benefit you. Okay? Now, in the worksheet that's free, I made it for you. I am also encouraging you to, I give 3 practices. I actually recorded a loving kindness meditation. There's a lot of science and research behind loving kindness. It supports you to be kinder to yourself and to others. I also am encouraging you to pay attention. Mindfulness, all that is, it's like this fancy word that just says, I'm going to pay attention to the present moment, not the future, not the past. And that will help you to start to see any patterns. I also want to recommend, you're going to ask yourself, How would I treat a friend in this similar situation? Now, anytime we are trying to change our habits, it's really important to write things down. So in the worksheet that's free, www.carlacaldwell.com, then you will want to use this sheet to set up a goal. When you write things down, you are over 40% likely to complete the action just because you wrote it down. And in the worksheet, I also prompt you to schedule it and to ask yourself, how does this self-compassion relate to what matters most? If you've listened to any of my materials, you know that what matters most is your North Star. It is what will motivate you to do things even when you don't want to. So, connecting whatever goal you have to how it benefits what matters most to you, you're more likely to follow through. I also offer resources, and I really hope this helps you. If what I shared to you made any difference to you, please like it. Please share it with your network. Share it with anyone who would benefit. I am very much interested in supporting you to prevent and reverse disease. And if you are able and have motivation to exercise, to eat better, to manage your stress, you are 80% likely to prevent most diseases. And we now know that when you are self-compassionate, when you recognize your own suffering and you want to do something about it to make it better, you're more likely to do those positive health behaviors. I really, really hope this was helpful. I am rooting for your success times 1,000. And make sure to get your free worksheet at carlacaldwell.com. I'm rooting for your success times 1,000. Have an incredible